One. John Bergquist. Where are you living now, John?
I'm living in Turner, Oregon. It's
John
beautiful.
Bergquist from Turner, Oregon, and Bill Watkins, the Lion's Pride. John, thanks for joining us for a few minutes today. We
Absolutely.
met, what, 2 years ago? Or was it a year and a half ago? When you won our coaching giveaway. So
It
we
was a,
had a weekend out here, all expenses paid to
it was
Wyoming.
exactly a year ago, Bill. Exactly to the day.
Look at that.
I showed
And
up.
I didn't even time that, and here I am talking to you. So we're celebrating one year together. But John, we gave away one of our VIP coaching getaways out here to Wyoming, all expenses paid. You came out, and we got to know you really, really well. We got to know what a great businessman you are, high talent, high achieving. Learn more about your family, good husband, great father. And then right after we put you on the plane, as I remember, John, you left for China.
Yeah, about a month later, like right away, September 3rd, I think, is when we took off.
And then we just gradually stayed in touch. And
Yeah.
eventually you came back from China. And then we started, I don't know, I remember reaching out to you. I think I wrote you something, and maybe I texted you and I said, "Hey, are you okay out there?" And I think
Yeah,
you texted back, "Not so much."
not so much. Yeah, I mean, when I first met you guys, it was a great timing because I'd been through a lot of coaching, but I was in a new place. I decided to reboot, or my wife and I and the kids decided to reboot our lives, walk away from our professional careers,
Hmm.
at least for a while, and
Hmm.
go teach in China, live in China as a family. And I, there's no manual for that. So when I saw the opportunity, and then we sat down together in Wyoming and went over just the principles you guys teach, and you walk with the guys through, mainly get guys to think about. It really helped me plan out and also just get the tools in my tool belt that I needed for the 6 months that we were in China. One was,
Yep.
scheduling things, keeping things, and part of it's just sanity. I would go back to even that phone call when I got back from China. It was another reboot because we'd planned to be there for 2 years, and just because of family health situations, we had to come back.
Right.
But coming back, we had to reboot again. I had to find work, and I had to
Yep.
increase my consultant clients for my consultancy, and I was, and at the time I started getting work, but it was coming at me really fast and furious.
Hmm.
Not just the work, but just the needs for my family. We were
Hmm.
trying to find a place to live. Uh, I mean, we really didn't have anything. We had a storage unit and two cars,
Right.
and so all that was coming at me. And I remember when you texted me, I had two pretty great clients, and I had a third one come on board that was really going to take a considerable amount of my time. And I just, when you wrote me that, I was like, no, I'm not doing okay. I had already had the tools, and I'd been going through the weekly calls with you guys, and that'd been super helpful. And I had everything it took to accomplish the goals. I think I needed to take those tools that you and Robert had taught me, and really, not just what I'd done in China as I used those tools. I needed to rely on those tools and
Mm.
that mindset. And so when I did that, whether it was using Trello to plan out my weeks, um, eating the frogs, which has become one of my favorite terms, doing the hardest thing every day first and
Yep.
foremost, or if it was just going through the Covey quadrants and determining what was really urgent and not urgent in my, not just my day but my season, um, that really helped. And so in that regard, I was able to go back to the tools and breathe, because nothing's as bad as we think it is.
Huh.
And when I
Yeah.
finally, right, most of the things we worry about never come true. and then my schedule wasn't as bad as it was, and so as I entered into this new position, or this pretty much it's becoming a full-time position. I was even able to look at the places I was able to work with the other two clients with the time I had left over, and then still have time for family. And I keep adding pieces to that, but the hope that it's given me just to have that structure and an organization. For me, I have ADHD, and I've always struggled with being organized, and now I've become super organized. And that's really given me the strength and the time and the abilities to do the things I dream about doing.
I think one of the things I noticed, John, you came out here as a VIP, so it was just you and me and Robert doing some hard work on just you. And then you left for China. We stayed in touch. And then when you came back, so while you were here, we taught you that 8-week Freedom Boot Camp curriculum one-on-one. So you got the fire hydrant sort of approach.
Intensive, yeah.
Yeah. And all three of us were exhausted.
Cried. I didn't cry. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we were all three exhausted. We had such a great time, but it was intense what you learned. And then you went back, being the guy that you are, really driven. You kind of even drove those principles even further, because they do take work. It's not like, like this, although it's pretty fast, still takes some work. And you went to China. That was very intense. And then you came back. And here's what I sensed. I don't remember whether we had a phone call after the text message or something, but
it was a phone call. It was a good
phone call. I felt you were all I felt you were all alone.
Yeah.
And what I wanted was to invite you back into the Pride through Freedom Boot Camp, which is more a group connection, where I thought maybe you would get some power, some support. You would feel supported, not all alone, having to take care of your family and rebuild your career and all that. But there were guys there who cared about you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had been back in the boot camp, the weekly calls with the guys, and that'd been really helpful. But it was also helpful just to have you call up and remind me I'm not alone. And I was even thinking this last week, we're in a new place, we've settled in a new house. But I'd like to get back in that. I need the refreshers, it's a rinse and repeat. It's the things that you didn't quite get the first time around. So I agree that idea that we're not alone. As solopreneurs or entrepreneurs or whatever you want to call us, you can get in that silo because so much depends on you think, and we isolate. And I think that's the worst thing we can do.
Well, isn't that, you have the responsibility of your work and your career. You have the responsibility of your marriage and the finances. You have the responsibility of your children. They're raising them, and then you have all the responsibility of like running a household and all that. And it can seem very imposing, especially if you feel like you're the only guy out there facing the struggles that you're facing. You look at all the other guys, and they it looks like they're doing it with their eyes closed and one arm tied behind their back.
Right. It's not true. Either they're good liars or good fakers, or they've got a team behind them. Yeah.
Well, good. So where are you at right now, John? I know where you're at geographically, but you came out and saw us. Then you planned your major life adventure out to China. Came back to resettle, and then that was what. 3 months, how many months ago was that?
Boy, it was 4? February 6th is when we came back. And then I think you and I talked maybe middle of May, maybe the end of May, 1st of June. And right now I'm contracting full time and with a group called naturalhigh.org. And they make celebrity and sports star films, as well as lesson plans for teachers in high school and middle school, to show kids that they had that spark, that natural high, that something that kept them from getting into drugs or anything addictive in nature, and diving into what their natural high is instead. And it's a really great program. It's science proven to really change kids' lives. Usually they
And are
get it in
you
health class.
running as a COO there, or what's your
I'm doing
contribution?
the chief marketing officer position,
Mm-hmm.
so a digital strategist, and
Mm-hmm.
helping them revamp their whole web strategy and their digital strategy. They've got a great team in place, and I'm working with another group to build out their website and then build out a funnel and content that's really
Mm-hmm.
going to help them take off. So it's been a great position, and I've got a couple other smaller clients I'm helping them do the same kind of thing.
So go ahead, keep
On
going.
the private side, my family did a family vlog while we were getting ready to go to China and coming back, and it's turned into this more of a thing where us to share our life and our story as a family and overcoming struggles and kind of like showing our life as a family, healthy family. That's obviously we got struggles and problems, but we work through it, and we've been doing that, and then it seems like all of us are blogging. So the whole family trying to blog about life issues and overcoming struggles in our life. Yeah. So it's been fun to do that on the private side.
Well, it seems like, John, when you came out to see us in Wyoming, you were riding a big wave, and then
Yeah.
you rode that wave into China,
Yep.
and then health issues kind of brought you back early, so things all turned topsy-turvy. I had this feeling that you kind of surfed that wave down to a trowel,
Yep.
and it feels like to me you've swung you and your whole family back up. Your
We really
career,
have. We
yeah,
really have. Yeah.
got in
It's,
control.
yeah. I mean, I think we left, we both had good careers, and we came back though. And it's a great image. The fellow that brought me on, John Sunt, onto Natural High is a big wave surfer. So I'm thinking in surf terms a lot. So it's like I'm paddling out and I'm waiting for that next rise to come. And I'm not going to lie and say that there's some big fear in watching whatever the next wave come, or
Sure.
thinking can I get up on the board or whatever. But those fears, both as a family and as a man, I'm able to take those fears in stride rather than having all of it come at me at once, especially with the tools that you
Totally.
guys have helped me learn. But yeah,
John,
it's
go
going
ahead.
well. It's going well.
Well, well, of course, I'm thrilled for you personally on this work, and I'm thrilled perhaps that there's a guy out there watching you right now is feeling like you're a kindred spirit, except he's a little bit behind and he doesn't quite have the clarity and the control
Yeah.
nor the calm that you have because of those tools you put in your tool belt. And I hope you'd encourage him to not be satisfied, being
Oh,
stressed,
absolutely.
worried, and he's not in control. You'd encourage him to do something different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a big life hacker. I love like books like Tim Ferriss or Seth Godin, those kind of books. But coming down to where you guys look at me face to face and we're able to kind of dive in and we look at the life hacks. They're not really life hacks. They're life changes that really help me to gain the peace and the calm to be able to decide what to do, but then execute.
Yeah, and it's pretty impressive to see what you've done since June. So, John, how can you mentioned a couple of blogs and the vlogs that you're doing that for the who are watching and think you're pretty cool and think you're a driven, high achieving businessman that they'd like to learn from? How would they get back? How would they get in touch with you, John?
Yeah, I have a blog, my personal blog that I write about connection, human connection, and just life issues. I think as a man, I write that at johnfleury.com. They can find me there. And then
Spell the URL.
John, JohnFlurry.com.
Mhm.
And that's just like a snow flurry. And then our
Great.
family, if you look for on YouTube for the Bergquist Family Adventure, Bergquist is Bergquist. You'll find our vlog there, and it's a lot of fun. It's not a lot of following yet, but the followers we have are pretty passionate. That's what it counts.
That's what counts, man. Science pride. If guys like John get to hang out with and you get to learn from. John has already gone maybe in some directions that headed to right now, or that you're, and you can get support from a guy like John Bergquist, who
Absolutely.
On both sides of it, both the getting support and the giving, and that's what we're all doing. It's gathering men, driven, high achieving businessmen, husbands and fathers, just like John, just like you, to find a plan, grow, feel supported, and get just a little bit better. I mean, John's awesome. 7.5, and maybe now he's a 9.78 on his way to a 9.9.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, well, it's coming soon. Listen, John, thanks for your time. I'm going to let you get back to the family, get back to work. It was awesome to hang out with you. I'll see you on a Thursday call coming up soon, into the group again. You do get lifetime access, though, as a
You can
VIP.
count on it. I'll be there.
All right, John. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Bye.